Hey everyone! Over the last few videos, we've been recreating some of EarthBound's iconic battle background effects, all by using WebGL shaders. These effects included palette cycling, vertical and horizontal oscillation, interleaved oscillation, background scrolling, and transparency. And we've recreated all those effects using WebGL, and we incorporated them into Phaser 3. Today, we're combining all those effects together in Phaser 3 to build our own fully dynamic, trippy battle background system that you'll be able to reuse in your own games. To get the same layered, animated look as EarthBound, we'll use multiple backgrounds, each with its own shader effect. Then, we'll blend them together with transparency to create that classic swirling vibe. So in this video, we won't be doing a deep dive into each of the effects. We'll just be incorporating what we've learned previously and using it in this video. So if you're new here, or if you haven't seen the series, and you want to learn more about these effects, I do recommend checking out those videos first. There'll be a link on the description now to the playlist where you can see each of those effects. To save time, I've set up a starter project for you. It already includes all of the shader pipelines we wrote earlier in the series for palette cycling, horizontal and vertical oscillation, interleaved oscillation, background scrolling, and even our transparency effect. So in our starting project template, all of our shader pipelines can be found under our source and our shaders folder. So this will have all of the pipelines that we previously built. And then finally, our game scene. Our game scene is already set up with some of the initial game objects that we'll need, and our pipelines have been added to those game objects. So if we take a quick look at our code in our game scene, we have some properties to keep track of our game objects that we'll be using. In our create method, we're calling a few additional methods that are going to help set up our scene. First, in setup pipelines, we're grabbing all of our pipelines from our shaders folder, and then we're adding them to our renderer. Then in our create render textures method, we're creating two background image game objects, and we're adding them to our scene. Both of those images have pipelines already associated with them. And so if we run our game in the browser, we should see our second background image being rendered to our canvas element. So here we have one of our textures, and we have our background scrolling effect and our vertical oscillation shaders being applied to that image. In our code, if we set our visibility for our background image 2 to false, then we'll see our first background image game object, and we'll see we're applying our horizontal oscillation effect. Finally, we're creating a rectangle game object, and we're adding that to our scene, but it's not visible. We'll be using this later on when we go to combine our two images. Besides this, our scene is set up with some additional game objects that is going to decorate our scene to make it look like a true battle scene. So if we uncomment out our create decorations method, we'll see a bunch of new game objects have been added. And now we have a mock battle scene where we can demo our effects. So we have some enemy sprite game objects that are animated. We have a very simple UI where we display some stats about our characters. And then we have these black bars to simulate that classic EarthBound effect. Finally, we have a tweak pane integration set up that will allow us to modify our textures that we're rendering out to our images and control which of our pipelines we're applying to those game objects. And with our tweak pane integration, we can modify these properties live and see the effect on our battle scene. For the time being, I'm going to comment those two methods so we can focus on adding our code we need to combine our two background image game objects. So now that we have all of our building blocks in place, we can take everything we've learned and built over these last few videos to create that trippy animated battle background that we've seen in old school games like EarthBound. And so to get that layered effect, we need to use multiple backgrounds. And the trick is, instead of us applying all of our shaders to a single image, we're going to have two separate images. And with both of those images, we can apply different shaders to get different types of effects. And where this gets really powerful is when we blend those two together using our transparency shader. Once we blend them together, that's how we create that really cool background that we've seen in EarthBound. And so now to get our final effect, we need to take our two background image game objects and then blend them together. And so there's a few different ways we can do this in our game. Since we're just rendering out two image game objects, we can modify our alpha value on one of them to have Phaser automatically blend them together. So in our create render textures method, we have our two background image game objects, and we have them both visible in our scene. However, our alpha property for both of these is set to 1, and so when we draw out our second image on top of our first image, it completely blocks it out. A simple way to get our transparency effect that we would like is we can just modify our alpha on our second background image game object. So as an example, if we take our background image, and now we call set alpha, now we can set it to something like 0.5, and now that's going to give us our transparency effect without us having to use our shader. So right away, we can see both of our background image game objects are being rendered, and each one has their own pipelines being applied. So if we come up to our create method real quick, I'm going to enable our tweak pane integration. And so now what this will allow us to do is we can choose which texture we want to draw out for both of our background images. We can then enable and disable our different pipelines that we've created. And so by taking our two image game objects and layering them together and using our alpha property, we now have that nice battle background. Now besides our alpha, another way we can create our effect is by using our transparency post-effects pipeline that we created. We can rely on WebGL to mix our two textures together. But here's the important part. For our transparency shader to work, we need to pass in our two textures we want to blend together. In Phaser, when we apply our pipelines to a specific game object, it's going to apply that effect to the texture tied to that game object. So what this means is we can't apply our transparency effect directly to one of our game objects. Because for each of our game objects, we want to have different pipelines that are running and being applied to the texture on that game object. And so what this means for our game is for like our first background, we might want to do a horizontal effect. Our second background, we want to do our vertical and our background scrolling effect. And now finally, we want to blend those two together. And so we want to take the outcome of both of our textures after our pipelines are applied. And so this is where render textures come in. Is our render texture, this is a special type of game object, which is a dynamic texture that we can draw game objects to. What this means is we can take our background image 1 game object, we can take our background 1 texture, apply our effects, and then draw that resulting effect onto our render texture. Once we do that, we can take our two render textures and use them as just regular textures in our game, and then blend them together and then draw them to our canvas element on a game object. And so how this will work is we're going to create a render texture that will capture our resulting effect for both our first background and our second background, and then we're going to merge them together through our pipeline here, and then apply that to our rectangle that's already created and not visible in our scene. And so for our render textures, we can think of them as a mini canvas inside our game that we can draw anything onto. And so to do this, let's go to our create render textures method. And right now in our method, we have a few to-dos that we'll need to populate our code for. So first, let's remove our code where we update our alpha on our second background image game object. Next, we're going to hide our first and second background image game objects. So in our scene, we should just have our gray background. So to create our render textures, we can do this, we'll do add, and then create a render texture game object. This is similar to like a rectangle where we need to specify our position of where we want this game object to be in our scene, and then we specify our width and height of that rectangle. So we're going to reference our scale property, we'll do our width, so we take it with the full width of our game. Now let's do our height, and then we'll update our origin to be in our top left-hand corner. So for our game object, we'll want to store a reference to this. So we're going to store this in our render texture 1 property on our class. So now we'll want to create another render texture for our second game object. So now if we save, if we come back to our browser, we shouldn't see anything. So right now with our render textures, we've created our game object, but we've not told Phaser to draw anything to them. For us to display something, we need to use our draw method on our game object. So if we do draw, now we can pass what we want to be drawn to this. And this method will accept a variety of different things. It could be a game object, like our sprite, our text. It could be a tile sprite. It could be another dynamic texture, or even one of our textures that we've loaded in, like our textures that we're rendering out for our background image. So as an example, if we copy our texture from our background image game object, and we pass this in, we'll see we're rendering out that texture that we passed in. So even though for our render texture, we're taking up our full game size, our texture will only render out at our original size. So besides rendering out our texture, we can also render out our image game objects. So I'm going to do our background image 1 game object. Because that game object its display size is set up to take our full canvas element, we're now rendering that out to our scene. And so this is where rendering textures are really powerful because we can pass in a variety of different game objects and then Phaser will combine them together into one texture that gets rendered out. And so what's really powerful about these is we can clear what's drawn to our render texture and then update it for each frame of our game loop. So if we remove this part of our code here, let's go up to our update method. So now in our update method, first we'll reference our render texture. We're going to call the clear method. And so this is like a whiteboard where when we call our clear method, it's going to wipe everything off of our board. What we can then do is in our update method, we can redraw our render texture. And so now if we pass in our background image 1 game object, what we'll see is because our background image 1 game object, our texture is being modified by our pipelines, that same effect is now being copied onto our render texture. And so even though our render texture doesn't have a pipeline applied to it, because our texture is being modified and we're redrawing that out, we get that same effect that we had if we just showed our background image 1 game object. So now let's do the same thing with our second render texture. Now if we save and come back to our scene, we should see our second texture being drawn out with our effects that have been applied. Now that we have our two render textures working, we can take both of those textures and pass them to our transparency post-effects pipeline and then use our shader to blend those two textures together. And so how this will work is we just need to apply our pipeline to a game object, and then our pipeline is going to handle rendering out our two textures. So in our create render textures method, we already have a game object set up, a basic rectangle, and it's taking up our full width and height of our game. Our transparency pipeline has been applied to it, so now we just need to pass in our two textures to our pipeline, so then that way we can apply it to our scene. So if we come back up to our update method, once we've drawn to our render textures, now we can apply those textures to our pipeline. To do that, we just need to reference our pipeline that's tied to our transparency effect. That's going to be our final background pipeline property on our class. We'll want to reference our texture1 GL texture property. We're going to set it equal to our rendering texture, our texture. We want to grab our source. We want to grab our first index from our source. We want our GL texture property. We're going to copy that. We want to do the same thing for our second layer. So we'll reference our second rendering texture. It's now we just want to add a safeguard to make sure that texture actually exists. So we're going to copy this. We're going to wrap this in an if statement. And we'll say if this texture exists and our second texture exists, then we want to attempt to do our code here. So now if we want to test our change, we'll come down to our create render textures method. Right now, our final background rectangle is currently not visible in our scene, so we're going to make it visible. Now if we come back to our browser, right away, we'll notice that we can see our first render texture. So now if we modify our alpha property, we'll see we start blending our two textures together. So now what's really cool about this is we can hide our two render textures and not have them be visible in our scene, and our code will still work. So we come back to our browser. Now we just have one visible game object, and it's using both of those dynamic textures to create the effect we see here. And so what's really cool about this approach is now we can mix and match any effects and apply them to our rectangle after we've already applied our shaders to both of our textures. And so that's how we get our transparency effect to work. So here's a quick recap of what we did. First, we had our two background image game objects. We applied our texture and our shader effects that we wanted to each of those game objects. We hid them in our scene, and then we created two render textures, one for each of our background image game objects. These render textures are going to capture our original texture and our display size and our effect from our pipeline being applied to it. This is captured up in our update method where we clear our texture each frame, and then we draw out our texture that's being applied to our background image game objects. With our two render textures in place, we can hide those game objects from our scene, then we can pass them to our transparency post-effects pipeline, and then with our pipeline, we can have that blend our two textures together. And so for everything to work, we just need to have that pipeline applied to a game object so we can render out our final texture. And we do that with our game object here. And so we used our render textures because they let each shader layer do its own job independently, and then we can blend our finished result into one final effect. By taking this approach, it's more modular, flexible, and lets us recreate EarthBound's multi-stage psychedelic backgrounds almost exactly. And that's it. By layering a few simple shader pipelines together, we can reproduce the wild, surreal backgrounds from EarthBound right inside Phaser 3. If you missed the early videos where we built each shader effect step by step, check the playlist link in the description. I recommend starting there. So thank you so much for following along with the series. If you found it helpful, please hit like, drop a comment about your favorite effect, and subscribe so you don't miss future Phaser tutorials. And if you'd like to support the channel, I've set up a Ko-fi page. Every coffee helps me keep making these deep dive tutorials. See you in the next one.